right, here we go. So, just wrapped up a stream on my primary channel, to be frank. Welcome to my personal channel, Topical Umbrella. For those who may end up joining the stream, thank you very much for joining me here. And, yeah, so I've just got a couple of leftover stories that I wanted to save for this channel. I'm just going to go until I run out of things to say or until I get fatigued from saying things. Well, I guess we'll find out. But yeah, we're going to start with the post-millennial. This is an outrageous story. You have a judge threatening threatening to possibly remove the death penalty for Luigi Mangione because she's suggesting that the Trump administration violated the fair trial rule. Let's find out what they have to say. This is the post-millennial. Judge warns Trump DOJ may have violated fair trial rule, could remove death penalty in Luigi Mangione case. Mangione has been charged with murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, and he is part of the cabal of left-wing lunatic radical nut jobs that have been killing people over the last few years. The judge warned in an order filed Wednesday that the Trump administration employees, quote, may have violated local trial rules in their social media posts about the Luigi Mangione case, in which Mangione has been charged with murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. This was Judge Margaret Garnett, this corrupt judge, who said that the statements would be taken into consideration when she decided on the death penalty motion filed, meaning she's hinting that she might remove it, which of course is absurd. Even if they did violate it, that's no reason to punish the families of the deceased CEO. There's no reason to give this guy any leniency. If you want to punish Trump employees for quote unquote violating fair trial rules, great. But to do this, to take away the death penalty, is not a good look. Now, the order stated that on September 23rd, the defendant filed a letter advising the court of various public statements made about this case by various members of the government. It appears from this letter that multiple employees at the Department of Justice may have violated Local Criminal Rule 23.1, and this court's order of April 25th, 2025, specifically identifying the strictures of this rule for counsel and directing the prosecution team to ensure that the highest levels of the Department of Justice, up to and including Attorney General Bondi, were aware of and understood that they were bound by this rule. So let's see what the rule is. Local Criminal Rule 23.1a states that it is the duty of the lawyer or law firm and of non-lawyer personnel employed by a lawyer's office or subject to a lawyer's supervision not to release or authorize the release of opinion that a reasonable person would expect to be disseminated by means of public communication in connection with pending criminal litigation with which they are associated, if there is a substantial likelihood that the dissemination will interfere with a fair trial or otherwise prejudice the due administration of justice. Load of crock, I'm just going to say here. Now, the rule later stated that the judge wrote, any opinion as to the accused's guilt or innocence or as to the merits of the case or the evidence in the case is a matter that presumptively involves such a substantial likelihood. The judge said that the statements referenced in the letter made by two high-ranking staff members of the DOJ appeared to be in direct violation of this rule and the court's April 25th order. This judge is insane, by the way. Now, the September 23rd letter noted that Deputy Director of the Department of Justice Office of Public Affairs, Chad Gilmartin, who posted a video of Donald Trump saying during an interview with Fox News that Mangione shot someone in the back as clear as you're looking at me. He shot him right in the middle of the back, instantly dead. Gilmartin wrote in his post, President of the United States is absolutely right. He later deleted the post, but before it was deleted, the Chief of Staff and Associate Deputy Attorney General for the Deputy Attorney General, Brian Neves, retweeted it. So for this, the judge is threatening that she might take away the death penalty for this monster. The letter also referred to statements made by White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, in which she referred to Mangione as left-wing assassin who shot United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson right in the back in New York City. What's wrong with that, you ask? Now, during a White House press briefing, as well as comments from White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy Stephen Miller, in which he said, of course, the healthcare CEO was brutally gunned down by another self-described so-called anti-fascist, aka fascist, that was then celebrated by other self-described anti-fascists, aka fascists. So, of course, really community revolutionaries. See, this judge is trying to punish the Trump administration for telling the truth. She's using this as an excuse to potentially take away the death penalty. And don't be surprised if she actually sticks to her guns. A lot of these corrupt judges are in the judiciary, and they are doing this kind of stuff left and right. Now, the DOJ has been ordered to respond by October 3rd, explaining, quote, how these violations occurred despite the court's April 25th order, and what steps are being taken to ensure that no future violations would occur. Future violations could result in sanctions, contempt of court findings, or other relief. The judge went on to say that this court will consider the other statements referenced in the September 23rd letter in connection with the defendant's death penalty motion filed on September 19th, and the government may include any response to those statements in its opposition to the death penalty motion on the schedule previously set by the court. I don't suppose they said what they would replace the death penalty with, Gunmetal says. No. But knowing, I mean, it's New York. Don't be surprised if they try to give this guy a pass, especially when you have a lot of left-wing lunatics who are practically salivating to get their fingers on him if he's ever out of jail. By the way, Gun, I notice you're in chat a lot. I'm gonna make you a moderator. I gotta start adding people as I do this more. So if you're up for it, I'll give you some moderator privileges both here and on To Be Frank. It's going to start slow a little bit here. I'll eventually start linking directly. I was a little bit tired, but I kind of wanted to touch on these stories. So, why what? Oh, let's see. Let's see. Give me a second here. Yeah. No, I understand that. I'm just normally when you have a lot of these streamers, they'll find people in the chat that are there regularly who aren't crazy. And which email did you send it to? Okay, well, it's just not going to let me do it while I'm doing the stream. All right. Guess I'll deal with that another time. Yeah, I'll check my email later. Let's see. But yeah, I thought about it while I was streaming the last stream on To Be Frank. And I was like, right now it doesn't matter. I don't really have any problems with people in chat. But it's somewhere down the road. I'm probably going to give certain people permissions for moderating chat if they feel like it. It's not going to be a required. It's just like I've been watching and studying some of the larger Twitch streamers, and I'm noticing that there's a lot of people that who are regulars who do a good job at moderating, but it's not a required for sure. Let's see how much energy I have to do this stuff. I've been out all day, and we'll see if I can go much further. Oh, cool. Now I gotta look up who Vera Dark. Oh, okay. I've seen her.
It is so sad that technical difficulties.
Very dark. Yeah. Yeah, no, you probably have your hands full, man. But that's cool. Yeah, I've seen her from time to time. She'll pop up in my feed. I think I saw her because she's done work with Ryan. I think they've streamed together, which is where I've seen her before. Let's see. Yeah, I'm probably not going to stream for very long today, just because I'm burnt. I realized when I stopped and I got this all set up, I'm like, okay, I have limited energy for the second stream. I'm gonna have to break them further apart, I think. Yeah, RK. He's fun to watch when I'm on the road. There's a few content creators that I will just leave on in the background because they're entertaining, and he's one of those that will pop up. Interesting. Well, let's see. I guess I'll touch on this a little bit. I haven't pre-read any of this, and then after that, I'm just going to call it because I'm realizing as I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, actually, I'm actually really burnt right now. But this I saw right before I jumped on the primary stream. But this was CNN, and I guess it looks like James Comey might actually face some justice. And I'll be the first one to say it. I didn't think that was ever going to actually happen. Maybe I'm just jaded, but I didn't expect any of these people in the Department of Justice, in the FBI, who were doing a lot of the shady stuff during the first Trump administration and leading up to the election in 2016. I didn't think any of them were actually ever going to face justice. It just seemed like that kind of fleeting dream of, accountability. But this is from CNN. DOJ nearing decision whether to charge former FBI Director James Comey with lying to Congress, sources say. Federal prosecutors are preparing to ask a grand jury to indict former FBI Director James Comey on perjury charges, but have just days to make a final decision, according to people familiar with the investigation. The investigation run by federal prosecutors at the U.S. Attorney's Office for Virginia's Eastern District is examining whether Comey made false statements during his September 30th, 2020 testimony in Congress on his handling of the investigation into Russian meddling in the 2016 U.S. presidential election, people familiar with the matter said. Prosecutors under criminal law generally would only have 5 years to the day to bring a charge. If prosecutors choose to bring the case and a federal grand jury were to approve it by next week, it would mark one of the highest profile indictments of a political figure during President Donald Trump's second term in office and against one of the longtime figures whom Trump and his political allies detest the most from what they call the, quote, deep state of the federal government. Well, yeah, this guy helped set up General Mike Flynn and who really stuck his nose into messing with the Trump administration. From even before day one. Now, Comey hasn't yet been charged with a crime and has maintained, writes CNN, in testimony that he has been truthful under oath. Oh boy. An attorney representing Comey in the matter hasn't responded to a request for comment from CNN. The Justice Department's decision on bringing charges against Comey has become especially fraught in recent days after Trump fired Eric Seibert, or whatever, the former U.S. attorney overseeing the case. Trump, in social media postings and in comments to reporters in recent days, has voiced frustrations that prosecutions of his political enemies, including Comey, have not moved quickly enough. Well, yeah, he only has 4 years or 3.5 years remaining. I would say so. I guess his former AG had balked at bringing mortgage fraud charges against Letitia James. Oh, so same person, the New York attorney. So, okay, this is the one that he fired. The New York Attorney General. Trump has attacked James repeatedly since she successfully brought civil charges against Trump and his company last year, doing some very weird political maneuverings to do so. A source familiar with the matter, however, said she had fewer hesitations over bringing charges in the Comey investigation. With the ouster and the deadline for a charge against Comey nearing, Trump has this week installed Lindsay Halligan, one of his former personal lawyers, as acting U.S. attorney in the Alexandria-based Eastern District of Virginia. Halligan has been spotted in recent days at the Justice Department headquarters as decisions on Comey and other cases loom. Comey also drew scrutiny in recent months after posting on social media a photo of shells where he arranged them, or someone arranged them, to read 8647, mean assassinate the president, which, of course, there were assassination attempts, and the left has gone crazy with the killings, as we have now seen over the last couple of years. Comey, of course, denied he intended to threaten Trump, even though, as an FBI man, he would know exactly what that meant, and voluntarily sat for an interview with the U.S. Secret Service. Recent intelligence declassification efforts by the Trump administration dredged up some of Comey's oversight of the FBI again. The former director initially drew Trump's ire after his handling of the investigation into ties between suspected Russian operatives and Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. The Russia hoax. Trump quickly fired Comey, which at the time was unprecedented, CNN writes, early in his first term. Well, if you have a guy who's actively undermining your presidency and he's in charge of the FBI and he's screwing over your staff, yeah, you're going to fire him. Now, since then, Comey revealed himself as a political figure, I added that part, of virulent criticism from Republicans, not only for his handling of the Russia hoax, but also in how he publicly announced and handled a separate investigation to Hillary Clinton, where he built it up and then said, oopsie doopsie, even though she committed a bunch of crimes, no reasonable prosecutor would prosecute. This was during the BleachBit era, where she was covering for her emails on a server that was not supposed to be. Now, in the short period during which he served as FBI director under Donald Trump, Comey took memos documenting meetings he had with Trump, memos he retained and that he later leaked to the press, again, undermining the Trump administration. The guy was a scumbag. That same year, in 2017, Comey testified during a Senate hearing that he had sent documents to Columbia University Law School professor Daniel Richman, a friend of his, instructing Richman to share the information with a reporter. So he set this up for the leaks. 2 years later, a report from the DOJ's Inspector General found that Comey violated agency policies when he leaked information from the memos, but nothing really ever happened to him. And while the memos themselves contained classified information, the IG did not find evidence that Comey leaked any classified information from the memos, even though he set it up to be leaked. What kind of crock is this? Now, at the time of the report, Trump tweeted that perhaps never in the history of our country has someone been more thoroughly disgraced and excoriated than James Comey in the just released Inspector General's report. He should be ashamed of himself. Now, during his 2020 Senate judiciary testimony, Comey testified that he stood by previous statements he made under oath to Congress and that he hadn't leaked to the media or authorized others at the FBI to leak to the media. Yeah, we'll have to see, but I mean, he's a lying piece of shit, so it doesn't really matter what he says, but we'll have to see where this goes. I don't know. I'm getting a little bit hopeful here. It seems like the wheels are starting to turn. It seems like the Trump administration is finally moving forward with going after the criminal left. I don't know. This was something I honestly did not think I would ever see. Having lived through the pandemic, having lived through the censorship, having lived through all the garbage over the last 4 or 5 years, I'm genuinely surprised right now. So, cool. I'm going to have to keep an eye on the story as it goes. And, yeah. So, that being said, I was going to do more, but my voice is actually giving up. Let's see. Gunmetal says, but are they cooling enough by 4 years? That's a good point, Gun. And honestly, it's going to take a Herculean effort, because this is just not even the tip of the iceberg. It's the there's so much corruption, and I don't know how you get it all done in 4 years. You would have to have probably another administration who would pick up the mantle, and there's no telling if you're going to get that. Trump is a bit of an outlier, to put it nicely. I don't know. But then I look at all the radical left-wing violence, and I'm seeing the Trump administration, and they've been attacked. There's been assassination attempts. And with J.D. Vance too, Gun, and this is something else. Let's say that J.D. Vance ends up running for president and wins. He's got a bone to pick with the left too right now. Because no matter what kind of a person he was before, he was good friends with Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, from my understanding, is the one that advocated for him to be the VP for Donald Trump. And so there's probably a lot of under-the-radar rage and anger from J.D. Vance. I mean, he wasn't specifically targeted himself. So things may be changing. I think we might be on the cusp of a world where the right, which has been historically passive in dealing with government corruption, They've been weak on this kind of stuff. They might actually do something here. I think we might be seeing the Overton window shifting to a new world where the right starts using the DOJ, starts using the law to come after their criminal opponents. So does Tulsi, but I'm a fan. You know, I gotta say, I am very impressed with Tulsi Gabbard. I originally didn't think much of her, but the way that she's handled herself, and I think a lot of these people on the left are going to end up shifting fully right at some point. Similar to, you look at, I was going to say Abraham Lincoln for some reason, Ronald Reagan. You know, that guy was a Democrat. He famously said that he didn't leave the Democrat Party left him. And he did so over the rise of the welfare state. He was not a fan. He saw that as a big problem. There's a famous speech. Well, there's two famous speeches. The Time for Choosing is the most famous. But there's another one that he did about the Great Society. Let's see. The Myth of the Great Society. This is worth watching. I'm not going to play it here because it's somebody else's YouTube content. And if this was on Twitch, we would probably watch it. But since I'm doing YouTube today, we won't. But this is absolutely worth watching. This is so prophetic. It's crazy. But yeah, The Myth of the Great Society. Highly recommend checking it out. It's at the Reagan Library YouTube account. Certainly worth watching for anyone who's seen this. I'll put it in chat. Yeah, but Tulsi Gabbard really is impressing me. And even Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Like I knew of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. before he tried to run for president. He and his staff reached out to us at Trial Site News. This is back when I was doing the medical news channel, and because I was the one breaking the ivermectin story. I'm responsible for a lot of that drama. Inadvertently, of course. I was simply tracking, there was 127 vaccines I was tracking at the beginning of the pandemic, and I was tracking all the early outpatient protocols. And so you had like the hydroxychloroquine drama. This was the trunk drug. You had the corticosteroids, your steroids like dexamethasone and budesonide, which there was a West Texas doctor thought he had the silver bullet for COVID. And then there was the ivermectin drama. Monash University out of Australia, back in January of 2020, put it in a lab at 20 times the human dose, so lethal dose, just to see what it would do. And at that dosage, it obliterated COVID. So cool, now we got to test humans to see if it works. And so I started tracking all of that stuff. And the first American doctors to do a observational study on that was Jean-Jacques Ryder and his wife in Broward County, Florida. And I even brought them onto my show at one point. Let's see. See if I can find this on here. Nope. Their search engine sucks here. It was a pretty interesting interview from way back when. Oh well, I'll have to find it later. But yeah. So I covered all that stuff, and then the story went viral, and it got crazy. The story went viral. And next thing you know, Dr. Pierre Corey, Peter McCullough, they were getting the meta-analysis data from us. I live streamed. We were the ones that put them on the map for their first live stream discussing their findings on the ivermectin observational studies and all of that stuff. In fact, my very first viral video was on that very subject when they went to Congress to discuss, and they were immediately blown off. This was all the way back here.
Welcome to a special
when I had very crappy equipment. So this was on the Senate hearing committee where They were basically blown off. They wouldn't listen to them. It was just a crazy time. So I saw all of this stuff, and then this channel, because the then Trial Site News channel was on a meteoric rise. And honestly, I'd probably be sitting at 1 million subs today. But I got shadow banned into oblivion for about 6-7 months. I could not get any traction. I had multiple hits on the channel. It nearly got taken down at one point. And so Robert F. Kennedy Jr., their Children Health Defense, approached us at Trial Site News, asked us to help them build their case. And so we did. And for our part, we're still, the lawsuit's still ongoing. But, for Trial Site's part, we're suing YouTube for about $8.5 million for their censorship. So, I was there for all of that. And, it's been a wild ride. And after that, there was a few other steps that took place, but I finally gave up doing medical news. There was too much censorship, too much shenanigans going on here, and it was impossible to cover medical news accurately without getting censored into oblivion. So I had to say goodbye. And then I was already kind of tweaking around with this channel. And I've never been able to fully focus on it before, but this is where I want to go because this is my project. Whereas, to be frank, is still, I have an agreement with the Trial Site owner, and so it's a kind of 50-50 ownership on that one, and he lets me run it the way I want to, which is great, but I still want to have my own project where if I want to say something that he doesn't agree with, I can just do it, because I got tired of going down that route, for sure. But yeah, it was a wild couple of years, and it kills my soul, because even to be frank now, when I restarted, I was doing daily content at the beginning of this year. It was blowing up. I picked up another 50,000 subs in, a month and a half, 2 months. And then I did a story on the Palestine-Israel conflict, and then followed it up with a story on the tariffs with China, and massive drop off of traffic immediately, 90% drop in reach, and that channel has been struggling to get traction since. At some point the shadow ban will end, but it's been about 6 months, so I'm just still grinding on it, and kind of hoping that shadow ban ends at some point. They of course deny that it exists, but it's been the story of my content creator career has been start stop, and yeah, so it's been difficult because there'll be points where I go full-time content creator. I'm like, all right, this is where I'm going to go. I can spend a lot more time doing research and being better prepared. And then it shifts from that to, oh, well, got to go back to my other job for a bit and then kind of do both. So I'm all over the place. But I try to have fun with it, and I'm just going to keep grinding. And there's going to be a lot more streams, a lot more content on this channel. And eventually I want this to be my primary channel. But yeah, and I'm also doing Twitch as well, but Twitch was kind of where I was privately testing live streaming, because this was a different monster. Doing prepared scripts where I'm researching, I'm writing, and I'm thinking about what I'm going to say is very different, and having, even in some cases, sometimes I'd memorize it, sometimes I'd do teleprompter. Going from that to completely unscripted, I'm just doing news reacts. It is a different monster entirely, and I have mad respect for the content creators in this space who do this on a daily basis, because this is, I love it. It's a rush, but it is damn hard by comparison, because I thrive in an environment where I can, the medical days, I'd sit down, I'd research, I'd spend all this time writing it, getting it just the way I liked it, and okay, I'm going to put it up. And then from that to this, where I have, like the last stream on To Be Frank, I had no idea what I was going to say before I clicked on go live. I know that that's not what a lot of streamers might do, but I figured, why not? This is where I want to go with it. And it's easier on the smaller channel, where if I have a bad stream, it's not going to hurt me as much as, say, on the bigger channels as this thing grows. We'll see. But in any case, I'm enjoying it, and I've really appreciated it. I've seen you before in the comments, and it's kind of nice to see you out there and chatting it up. So... I'm right now I'm in this weird larva stage where this is going to change dramatically as I go. Right now it's a one-man operation. And that'll change over time. But we'll see where it goes next 2-3 months. I'm just going to try to do this at least Monday through Friday, maybe more, if I can handle it. But I'm still I'm still working outside of this, so that I'm burning the clock, 15, 16-hour days. So, but yeah. Anyway, it's been nice hanging out with you guys. Hey, Melissa, welcome. Hi, Willies, welcome aboard. I'm just wrapping up the stream. It was just reminiscing with Gunn about the histories of this channel and my primary channel, the To Be Frank, and what a wild journey it's been. Yeah, it's been fun. And I'm just gonna keep doing this, and we'll see where it goes. And hopefully, eventually, I can go back to doing this full time. And if that happens, fantastic. But if not, we'll keep grinding. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up because it's actually not that late here, but I am burnt. I was not expecting to talk this much today, but I saw the shooting and I thought, well, I got to jump on board and talk about it. So, all right, Melissa, Willies, and Gunn, you guys have a great night. I will probably be on tomorrow, maybe. It'll probably be around this time, not earlier like it was today.